list elements. So how we are going to perform the deletion operation or removing the elements from the list. Okay, generally there are some ways to delete this list of elements. So we will see all the possibilities. The first possibility is we are going to delete the element from the list by using the keyword delete, del. Okay, by using the del keyword, this keyword can be used to delete one or more items or one or more elements from the list. Now let me take one example. If I have one list like this, L is equal to some 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, my list contains 5 elements. Now if I want to delete the element 3, okay, I want to delete the element 3 here. Am I audible?
Yes,
Hello?
sir.
Yeah, yeah.
Sir, you're audible.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah. Now I want to delete the element 3 from this list. So in this list, the element 3 is at location. What is the location? The location of 3. Anyone tell me what is the location of 3? Hello? Hello? The location of 3 is 2, 0, 1, 2. So if I want to delete the element 3, I have to delete L of 2. That means the list name followed by the index number. What is the index number here? 2. Then 3 will be deleted. If I print the list here, it will print only 1, 2, 4 and 5. Okay. Like that, by using index value, you can delete the one element from the list. See here. Now I am 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I write del space L of 2, then if I print L, it will print only 1, 2, 4, 5 because 3 is deleted. Okay. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is for deleting one element. Okay. Suppose if you want to delete 1, 2 or 3 elements at a time, then what you are going to do is you have to use the slicing operator. Yesterday we have seen the slicing operation by performing the starting index and ending index. Okay. So if I want to delete in this list, I want to delete 2, 3 and 4. I want to delete it. Okay. I want to delete 2, 3 and 4. So what is the index of 2? 1. Okay. What is the index of 4? 0, 1, 2, 3. So I can specify the starting index is 1, the last index is 4. That means this slicing operation will be done from 1 to 4 minus 1. So 1 to 3, whatever the elements are there, those elements should be deleted. So that means 2, 3, 4 are deleted. We will get only 1 and 5 here. See here. Are you able to see the output? Okay. Hello. Please, anyone,
Yes,
please
sir.
respond.
Yes, sir.
Sir, visible.
Are you following?
Yes, sir. We understand.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So like that, it is possible to delete one element or one or more elements by using this del keyword. Okay. If you want to delete one element, you can specify the index value. Otherwise, you can use the splicing operation. You can write 1 to 4 like this. Then you can delete the some set of elements from the list. Okay. And similarly, by using this del keyword, it is possible to delete the entire list also. Okay. It is possible to delete the entire list from the memory. That means if you want to delete the entire list from memory, just you can write del space L. Okay, without specifying any index and slicing operators, just you can write the what we call del space the list name. So that what happened? The entire list will be deleted permanently from the memory. So if you are trying to print the list like this, print of L, then it will give one error like that L is not defined because the list is permanently deallocated from memory. So L is not available. So it will say the error like name error, name L is not defined. Okay now. Hello. So by using this del keyword, it is possible to what we called delete the one element or two or three elements or the entire list also. All the three possibilities we can do with this del keyword. Okay. Okay now. That's about del keyword. Then we can use another method called remove method. Okay. This remove method can be used to remove a particular item or given element. Remove the given element in a list. Okay. Here in the del keyword, we are using index values. But alla kakunda, if you want to delete the particular element from the list, you are going to use this remove method. And this method takes one element as a parameter. You can pass like this, remove of ELE. Whatever the element you want to delete or remove, that element you can pass as a parameter to this method. Then that particular element should be removed from the list. Okay. So see the example here. We will take the same list here and I will call the remove method L dot remove. Okay. We will call the remove method by using the list name. List name is L here. L dot remove of 4. That means that I want to delete the element 4 from the list. So after removing 4, the list contains only 4 elements. That is 1, 2, 3 and 5 here. Okay. So if I print the list here, it will print only 1, 2, 3, 5 because 4 is removed from the list by using this the remove method. Okay. So whenever you want to delete the particular element, you are going to use this remove method. Okay now. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah. That is about remove method. Then there is another method which is for deleting the elements. That is pop method. Okay. So this pop method.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Using remove method, can we remove the whole list?
Can
Like
we
we
remove the
didn't
whole?
delete.
That is not possible. But if you want to delete the entire list, you can use only this what we call del keyword. Okay. Or next I will tell you there is a method called clear method. Okay. By using the clear method, you can delete all the elements. Okay. But by using remove method, you can pause. It is possible to delete only one element. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Next, third
And
one is
multiple elements, sir?
multiple elements are not possible with remove method.
Okay, sir. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Remove only for particular element. Whatever the element you are specifying here, that will be deleted. Okay. Any other doubts?
There are any duplicate elements? Is the first one will deleted or entire numbers deleted?
Okay, that means if you have duplicate values, am I right?
Yes, sir.
So if you have the duplicate values like this, then the first occurrence will be deleted. Okay. See here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I remove 4, only the first occurrence of 4 will be deleted. The next element will be as it is. Okay. If the list contains the duplicate values like this, the first occurrence of this element will be deleted. Okay. Second occurrence will be as it is. Okay. Yeah. The third method is pop method. It is used to remove the particular element at the given index. At the given index. Okay. That means for this pop method also, we are going to provide some index value, and based on that index value, the particular element will be deleted. Suppose if I write pop of 3. Okay, that means my index value is 3. If the index value we are supplying as 3 means what is the element to be deleted? What is the element to be deleted? 0, 1, 2, 3. That means 4 will be deleted. The list will be 1, 2, 3, and 5 here. Okay, and this for this pop method, there is another possibility. If you are not passing the index value, simply you write pop and empty parenthesis. If you are not passing any index value, then it removes the last element. Okay, it removes the last element. Okay, so if I run this, 5 will be deleted. We'll get only 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, for the pop method, if you pass index, at that index, whatever the value is there, that will be removed. If you are not passing any index, that will remove the last element from the list. Okay, so whenever you want to remove the last element, you can use pop method and don't pass this what we call index value. Okay, this can be mainly useful for implementation of stacks using the list concept. Okay, that we will see later. Okay, so there are 3 possibilities: by using del keyword, or by using remove, or by using pop method. We are going to delete the elements. There is another method, that is clear method. This will clear all the elements. That means this method is used to empty the list. That means all the elements will be cleared. The list becomes empty after this clear method. Okay, so here if I write this L dot clear, then what happened? All the elements are deleted. The list becomes empty. If I print L, then it shows the empty list. Only empty square brackets you will get here. See here, the output is we get only empty square brackets. Okay. If you observe the clear method and what we called the another one is del space L. Okay. If you observe the difference between these two things, this del space, the list name, will permanently delete the list from memory. That's why after this one, if you print the list, name L is not defined, error comes. Whereas if you use the clear function, L dot clear, that will only clears the list. That means it will clear the elements and the list becomes empty here. So if you print list, it will get only empty square brackets. It will not, the clear method will not delete the list permanently from the list, from the memory. Okay, that's why we'll have only empty list here. Okay, na? Hello?
Yes, sir.
These are the 4 different ways for deleting or removing the list elements. By using del keyword, or by using remove method, by using pop method, by using clear method. Depends on your requirement, depends on your project. You may use any one of these options to delete the elements from the list. Okay. Then we are going to see the another methods which are available with the list. The next method is index method. Okay, the next method is index method. This method is for to find out the index of the given element. To find out the index of the given element, we are going to use index method. Okay, this method syntax will be like this. Index of, here we can pass element, and we can pass start, and we can pass end. Okay, element comma start comma end. Okay, that means here the first parameter is element. That element specifies that for which element you want to find out the index value. That element you can pass as a first parameter, and second parameter is the starting index, and the last parameter is the ending index. That means from which index to which index you want to search for this element. That also you can specify. Okay, suppose if you are not giving the starting index and ending index, it will consider the entire list. Okay, in this, the second parameter and third parameter both are optional. If you are not passing this starting value, if you are not passing this ending value, then by default it consider the entire list. For this element, the index function will search in the entire list. Okay, if you specify this index, it will search only in the particular locations. Okay. For example, let me show you one example. I'm taking L is equal to A, E, I, O, and U. I'm taking one list with vowels A, E, I, O, U. Okay. Now I'm writing print of L dot index of, I want to check E. Okay, I want to find out the index of E. Okay, so L dot index of, I'm passing E here. Then what is the index of E here? What is the index of E? Index of E is 1, 0, 1 kada. So we will get 1 here. If you are not passing the starting index and ending index, it will search for the given element in the entire list. Okay. Okay now.
Yes, sir.
And now if I add one more element like this, G, L, I, U, something like this, and if I specify L dot index of E, comma 4, for example. Okay, L dot index of, I'm writing I. L dot index of I, comma 4. Here I'm giving the element as well as I'm giving the starting index, not the ending index. Okay, that means that this index method will search for the character I after the 4th index. Okay, after the 4th index. 4th index tarvata check chestundi adi. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and these are check chestundi. Okay, that means the second occurrence of I index will get here. See the output here 7. That is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The index of this one. Okay. If you don't give this 4, you will get directly 2, the first occurrence of I. Okay. If you want to search for the second occurrence, you can give the index like the starting point. You will get the second occurrence of I here. Okay. Then if you write the starting and ending like this, 3 and 5. Okay. Starting and index 3 and 5 here. That means this index method will search for this element between the third location and fifth location. That means index 3 and index 5. Okay. So see the output here. Value error. I is not in list because between 3 and ekanunchi from 0 to 4, 5. That means 0 U G. Between these 3 letters, I is not there. Am I right? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's why I will give the output as I is not in the list because it will perform the searching only in this location 3 to 5, not the entire list. Okay, that's why always if you want to check, you can directly go for only L dot index of that element. Then you get the exact location, first occurrence of that element location will get. Okay, that is the index method we are going to use to find out the element in the list. Then the next one is how we are going to perform the sorting operation in a list. That means how we are going to sort the list of elements. Okay, there is a method called sort method. This method is used to sort the list of elements. Sort the list of elements. Okay, and there is a one more method called sorted. There is a one more method called sorted. This is also used to sort the list of elements. These two, sort method and sorted method, is the sort method is going to change the original list. Okay, the sort method is going to change the original list, whereas this sorted method will give the new list. The original list will be as it is. It will return the new list as a sorted list. Okay. Follow Nara. Sort method changes the original list in the sorted order, whereas sorted method will return the new list. It will not change the original list. Are you able to follow? Let me take one list with random order. Maybe 5, maybe 2, maybe 6, maybe 4, maybe 1, maybe 3. For example, I have the elements called 5, 2, 6, 4, 1, 3. Okay. Now I am calling L dot sort method. Okay. I am calling L dot sort. Then if I print L, as I told you, the sort method will change the original list. That means L will be changed. Now L becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The elements are sorted in ascending order by default. So we'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The elements are sorted here. Okay. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the sort method will what we call changes the original list. So always this will be change the list in or sort the elements in ascending order. Suppose if you want to arrange the elements in descending order, okay, then for this sort method you have to pass one parameter, that is reverse is equal to true. Okay, L dot sort of reverse is equal to true. Then you get the list in descending order 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. If you want to print the list in ascending order, just you can use L dot sort empty parenthesis. Then you get the output as ascending order. If you want to get the output as descending order, you can write reverse is equal to true. You get the descending order like this. Okay. Then if you want to use this sorted, okay, this we can call by using sorted of L, not L dot sorted. Sorted of L returns a new list that will be stored in L1. And if you print L1, you will get the output as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Similarly, if you print L, the L is not modified. L will be as it is. That is 5, 2, 6, 4, 1, 3, whatever elements you have. 5, 2, 6, 4, 1, 3. So sorted method will not change the original list. It will return the new list that will be stored in some other variable like L1 and that will be printed here, L1. Okay. Okay, now. Hello.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Then next one will be the after sorting. There is a method called reverse. There is a method called reverse. So this method is used to reverse the list of elements. Okay. Elements మీరు reverse చేయాలంటే గనక you are going to use this reverse method. So suppose here I am writing L dot reverse. And if I print this, print L, it will display the reverse order 3, 1, 4, 6, 2, 5. Okay. Yesterday already we have seen the slicing operation. By using slicing operation also, you can reverse the list. What you have to write? Reversing, what you have to write? By using slicing operation. Square brackets, colon, minus 1. Then also you will get the reverse order. Okay, either you can go for this one or you can go with L dot reverse. Okay, by using any one you can reverse the list. Okay, then the next one is copy method. This method for copying the one list of elements into the another list. Okay, so generally what happened is in Python, if you have the list like this, okay, suppose you have the list like this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, if you want to copy this list into another list, it is possible to write like this directly. L1 is equal to L. That means L is my old list and L1 is the new list. I am copying the list of elements in L to L1. Okay, it is possible, but the problem for this one is, I will tell you, if I print L1, if I print L, both are having same values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, suppose here I am writing new list is comma L1. This is my old list. Okay. Now L and L1 both are same. Now if you add any element to the new list, what is my new list? What is my new list? L1. Suppose L1 dot append of 6 I am writing. Okay, I am adding one element to the new list L1 dot append of 6. Then what happened? For the new list, the 6 will be added. Okay, if I add a list to the new list, then here what happened is L1 will be changed and L also changed. See here the output. First new list is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, old list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again the new list is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and old list is also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because whenever you are modifying the new list, that will also modify the old list also. That is the problem with this assignment. Okay. If you copy the list of elements like this, L1 is equal to L, then what happened is whenever you are changing the new list, then this list is also changed. Okay. Sometimes while doing the projects, suppose I want to change only L1. I don't want to change the L. That means old list will be as it is, and I want to change only the new list. For that purpose, I am going to use this copy method. Okay. If you use the copy method, the list of elements should be copied from one list to another list. If you are performing any operations on new list, only new list will be changed. The old list will not be changed. Okay. Okay, now see here. Now I'm writing L1 is equal to L dot copy. Okay, earlier I write L1 equal to L. Now I'm writing L1 is equal to L dot copy. So that what happened? Whatever the elements in L, all are copied into L1. Okay. Now new list is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Old list also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm writing L1 at append of 6. Now 6 is appended to only L1, not L. See the output here. 6 is appended to only new list, not the old list. Old list will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will be as it is. Okay. So that's why we are going to use this copy function. This type of copying is called as a shallow copy. Okay. This is called as shallow copy. In Python, there is a word called shallow copy. That means the list of elements will copy into another variable. That is a shallow copy here. The original list will be as it is. If you perform any operations on new list, the new list will be changed. Okay. Is it clear? Hello? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Then the next operations is membership operation. Okay, next operation is membership operation. This membership operation purpose is to check whether the particular element is available in list or not. Available in list or not. If you want to check, you are going to perform this membership operation. That means whether the element is a member of a list or not, we are going to check. For this membership operation, Python provides two operators. One is in operator, second one is the not in operator. Okay, these are two different operators, in operator and not in operator. These two are called as membership operators. Okay, these two are used to check whether the particular element is available in the list or not. Okay, so this in operator gives true if the element is present in a list. Okay, the element is present in the list, the in operator will give true value, otherwise false. Whereas not in operator will give true if element is not present in the list. Element is not present in a list. Okay, so depends on requirement. You may use in operator or you may use not in operator. Okay, see here. Let me check. My list is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I am printing whatever the element. Suppose 4 in L. Okay, I am writing what is the element I am going to check. 4 I am going to check whether 4 is available or not. So element followed by in operator followed by the list name. 4 in L. So here in this case 4 is present. So it gives the true value. The output will be, see the output. Sorry. See the output here. True. Okay. Suppose if you give the element is 6 in L. 6 is present or not in a list? 6 is present or not in a list? 6
No,
is present.
sir.
Yeah, so it gives false. See here. So if you use not in operator, 6 not in L, and 6 is not in L, that is true kada. 6 list lo ledhu kada. 6 is not available in the list. It gives a true value. 6 not in L is true kada. Okay. Similarly, if you give 5 not in L, that becomes false. Like that, you can use membership operators like in or not in for the purpose of checking whether the element is available in the list or not. Okay. Okay. And there are
Yes,
some
sir.
built-in functions: max, min, len, sum, and what we called all and any. All these functions are almost available in all data structures like lists, tuples, sets, and dictionaries. All these are we can use in almost all 4 data structures: max, min, len, sum, all, and any. So this max function is used to find out the maximum element in a list. Whenever you want to find out maximum element in a list, you are going to use this max function. The min function is for finding the minimum element. That means the smallest element in a list you are going to find out by using this min function. And the length function is going to find out the length of the list. That means how many number of elements we have inside the list. That count we can get by using the length of a list. Okay. And sum means sum of all elements in a list. Sum of all elements in a list. Let me show you. So here my list contains 5 elements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now I'm writing max of L. If I write this max of L, I will get the largest element in the list. What is the largest element? 5.
5.
Yeah. If you write min of L, you will get the smallest element, that is 1 here. If you write sum of L, all the elements in the list are summed. That means 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. What do we get? 15. See here, some value is 15. If you write len of L, how many elements we have? 5 elements. So the length will be 5 here. Okay. Okay, now. Then these two, all function and any function, will give true value. All function will give true if all the elements are positive. That means all are greater than 0. Okay. All are greater than 0. Okay. Any means returns true if any one of the element is greater than 0. Okay. For example, see here. Here my list contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All are greater than 0. So if you use all of L, you get true value here. Okay. If you write any, that also becomes true here because one of the element is also the non-zero value. Okay. If you have non-zero value, that is considered as true here. Okay. Okay, now. Okay, there is a one more method called count method. L dot count. For this, we can pass one element as a parameter L dot count of 3. Then what happened is this count method will check how many times this element 3 will appear in the list. How many times the list 3 will appear?
3 times.
How many times? 3. 3 times appeared. Here, here, here. So we'll get 3 here. If I give the count of 1, how many times 1 is appeared? Only 1. Okay. How many times 2 will be appeared? 1 time. Okay. So just it counts the number of occurrences of the particular element. Okay. Number of occurrences of particular element. We are going to use this count method. Okay, now. Hello. Hello.
Clear, sir.
Yeah. And one more operation is concatenation. So then another operation is concatenation. Suppose we have one list like this L1 and there is a one more list that is 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Now I want to concatenate these two lists. Okay. Concatenation means adding one list at the end of another list. Okay. For the concatenation in Python, we are going to use plus operator. Plus is for concatenation. Then what happened is the second list will be added at the end of first list. Okay. L1 plus L2 means L2 will be added at the end of L1. So output will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. This is for concatenation. Concatenation means adding one list at the end of another list. Okay. If you write reverse L2 plus L1, then what happened? L1 will be added at the end of L2. See here 6, 7, 8, 9. That is L2. At the end, we are going to add L1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Always the second list will be added at the end of first list. Okay. That's about concatenation. Okay. And it is possible to write the nested lists also. Okay, it is possible to write the nested lists. Nested list means list within the list. Okay, for example, I can write like this: L is equal to 1, 2, 3, and I can write another list here. That is 4, 5, 6. Okay, this is one list. Within that, I am writing another list here: 4, 5, 6. Okay, like that, nesting of lists is also possible. Okay. And if I want to print 1, what I have to write? Print L of 0. You will get 1 here. Okay. If I want to print 4, what I going to write? Suppose I want to print 4. If I want to print L of 0. If I want to print 2, what I'm going to write? L of 1. If I want to print 3, what I'm going to write? L of 2. If I want to print 4, what I'm going to write? Anyone tell me? Follow Nara.
L of 2, 0.
Hello? L of. So here, this index is 0. This index is 1. This index is 2. And this entire list index is 3. So we can write L of 3. And inside that 3, the first element is 4. So we can write L of 3, 0. You will get 4 here. Okay. This entire list, this nested list index is 3 here in this example. So if you want to get 4, you can write the L of 3, 0. Okay, L of 3, 0. If you write L of 3, 2, you will get the 6 here. Okay. Are you able to follow? Are you able to follow? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, like that we can have the nested lists. So you can write any combination of lists. You can write something like this, and you can write what we call something like this, and you can write some combination of x, y, z, comma, some other h, y, d. Okay. And you can write anyone. This is 0, this is 1, this is 2. If you want to print HYD, what you have to write? L of 3, 1. You will get the HYD here. Okay, like that you can write the nested list, and from that nested list you can obtain the elements by the index values. Okay, that's about lists concept. Any doubts in lists? Any doubts in lists?
No, sir.
సార్
Any doubts?
సార్
చెప్పండి.
సార్ 2 లిస్ట్ని యాడ్ చేయొచ్చా సార్?
యా
2 లిస్ట్స్ని యాడ్ చేయొచ్చా సార్? యాడ్ లెక్క
2 lists ని
2 లిస్ట్ మధ్యలో అడిషన్ పర్ఫామ్ చేయొచ్చా సార్?
Okay, if you want to perform the addition,
ఎస్ సార్,
am I right?
ఎస్ సార్.
So actually that addition of 2 lists is not possible actually, because the sum function we have for purpose of adding only 1 list of elements. But the 2 lists, if you want to add, that is not possible. Yeah. Oh, sorry. See here. See here. You can write the first element, second element. Okay. Like that you can add. That means
Sir,
you can write
complete
like
list
this. Yeah, for I in what are the how many values we have? 3 values. So 1 to 4 I can repeat this loop, and here I can write what I can write. Sum is equal to L of I plus L1 of I. So this will add 1 plus 4, 5, then 2 plus 5, 7. Sorry, this will become last value. Okay, there is a possibility that here you can add these 2 lists and that will be stored in new list. That is possible. See here, I will tell you. L2 is equal to like this, and here you can write L2 of I is equal to L1 of I plus L1 of I. Okay, I can write 0 and 3. And after this for loop, if I print L2, list assignment index out of range 0, 1, 2. What happened? List assignment index out of range. Why this will come? Range of 0, 2. Okay, like that we can perform, but I don't know how this error comes. Okay, that I will tell you later. Okay. Okay. I will check once and I will tell you later.
Sir.
Okay, that is possible. I will tell you later. Once I done the program, I will show you. Okay. Is there
Okay, sir.
any other doubts in lists? Any other doubts? If you don't have doubts, we will go to the next data structure, which is called as tuples. Shall I move to tuples? Okay. Shall I?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, as
Excuse
I told
me, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, in lists, can we compare two lists like that?
Can we?
Compare two lists. In C we have no, sir, comparison option. Like concatenation, we have for strings. Like that, can we compare two lists or?
Oh, that's what you are asking. Compare the two lists.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That is comparison of two lists is not possible. Okay, because the list contains the various kinds of various types of elements. Okay, that's why that is not possible in the what we call the lists. That is not possible.
Okay, sir.
Okay, na? Yeah, the next one will be tuples. Tuples is also nothing but ordered collection of elements. Okay, tuples is also ordered collection of elements. So yesterday we have seen list is also a ordered collection of elements. Am I right? Am I right? List is also a collection of ordered collection of elements. Then you may wonder, what is the difference between list and tuple? Why we have the two data structures? Okay, so see here, I will tell you the difference between lists and tuples. The first difference is lists are mutable objects. Lists are mutable objects. Here the word mutable means it is possible to change the elements in a list. That means you can add the elements, you can delete the elements, you can change the elements. Everything is possible in lists. Am I right? You are doing append operation, you are doing the pop operation, you are doing the remove, or you are doing clear. What? Okay. So everything is possible in lists because lists are mutable objects. Mutable means changeable. Okay. List lo unna elements ni it is possible to change the elements in a list. That's why lists are called as mutable objects. Whereas tuples are immutable objects. Tuples are immutable objects. That means once the tuples are defined, okay, once the tuples are defined, it is not possible to change the values or change the elements. It is not possible to add the elements. That is also not possible. Okay, it is not possible to change the values. It is not possible to add the elements. It is not possible to remove the elements. Okay, that is not possible with the tuples. That is the major difference between the list and tuples. Very, very important question this is. Lists are mutable and tuples are immutable. Mutable and changeable. Immutable means unchangeable. The second difference is for declaration of lists, we are going to use square brackets. Whenever you want to create a list, you are going to use the square brackets. Whereas for tuples, we are going to use the parentheses. That is another difference. That means declaration of tuples can be done using the parentheses, but lists can be declared by using the square brackets. These are the two important differences between the list and tuple. Main difference is mutable and immutable. Okay, lists are mutable and tuples are immutable. Okay, once the tuples are defined, it is not possible to change the tuple elements. It is not possible to add the tuple elements, new elements. That is not possible. Okay. Okay. So in order to create a tuple, you have to use the syntax like this. Tuple variable is equal to parenthesis. You can write element 1, element 2, comma, element 3, comma, so and so. This is the syntax we are going to use for creating a tuples. Tuple underscore variable is equal to element 1, element 2, element 3 like that. Okay. If you are not giving any values, T1 is equal to some empty square brackets. It will give the empty tuple. Same as list. It will give the empty tuple. If you write T2 is equal to some 1, 2, 3, this will create a tuple of integers. Am I right? Similar to lists, in tuples also it is possible to write different types of values like this. 75.9 for example. T3 is equal to 1, ABC, 75.9. Like that you can write any kind of tuple. Either all are integers or all are floating point numbers, all are strings. Okay. Or mixed types. That's your wish. You can write any one. Okay. So in this way you can create the tuples. Okay. See here. Suppose I am writing T1 is equal to empty parenthesis. And if I write print of T1, it will show the empty parenthesis here because it will show the empty list. Sorry, empty tuple. See here. Okay. If you write T1 is equal to 1, 2, 3, it will print 1, 2, 3 in between parentheses. See here. Okay. Like that you can write any example. X, Y, Z and 75.9. Any example you can write. Okay. Okay now. And there is one more function that is tuple. And inside this you can pass the values. You can get the tuple like this. So tuples can be created in number of ways. One is like this and second one is by using the tuple method. That means T1 is equal to, we can write tuple, sorry, we can write a tuple, and inside the brackets you can write the elements. Whatever the elements you want to store, you can like this. This is also another way for creating a tuples. Okay. Is it clear? Hello. Yeah. So one more point here is, suppose I want to create a tuple with one element. Okay, I want to create a tuple with one element. Creating a tuple with one element is a tricky one, because if you write, see here, not writing this one tuple, just I'm writing T1 is equal to 1. T1 is equal to 1 and rasan. If I print T1, this is not a tuple. See here, what is the output we are getting here? What is the output we are getting here? What is the output we are getting?
1.
Yeah, 1. So here, no parentheses. In the output, there are no parentheses, means that is not a list, that is not a tuple. Okay. Suppose if you want to check whether it is tuple or not, you can use one function called type function, type of T1. Okay. It shows what it is. Type of T1 is integer. That means this is not considered as a tuple. This is considered as a normal integer value. That's why creating tuple with one element is a tricky one. If you want to create tuple with one element, you can write 1 followed by comma. Okay. If you want to create a tuple with only one element, you can write a element followed by comma operator. Then it will consider this is a tuple. See the output here. You will get 1 here, and the type of T1 is class tuple. Then it is a tuple. You will get the parenthesis here. Okay. Follow Nara. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if you want to create a tuple with only one element, you can go with like this. Okay. So this type function always gives the type of the specified operand. Here T1 is of type tuple. That's why we're getting class tuple here. Okay. Okay. In that way, we can create a tuple. Okay. Then after that, accessing tuple elements. So as I told you, tuple is also a ordered collection of elements. So the tuple elements can also be accessed by using index value, same as list. Okay, because tuple is also a ordered collection of elements. If you want to access the tuple elements, you can use the index value. Okay, that may be positive index or negative index. Whatever we have seen in lists, same as applicable to the tuples also. Okay, that means if I write T is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and if I write print of T of what we called 2, what we will get? Print T of 2, what we will get? Hello.
3.
Yeah, we will get 3 here. Okay, like that, whatever the indexes you are going to use, you can use for either positive or negative. Print T1 of 2. Then you will get 3 here. See here. Okay. Similarly, you can write negative index also, -3. -1 means last element. -2 means last but 1. -3 means 3. You will get 3 here. See here. Okay. This is same as lists. Okay. Then next, slicing operation. This is also same as the lists. Okay, that means you can use positive indexes or negative indexes by specifying starting index or ending index. You will get the set of elements from the tuple by performing this slicing operation. Okay, that means if you have the element like this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and if you write only the colon T1 of some colon, we are not specifying the starting index, we are not specifying the ending index, then what will happen? It will print the entire tuple. See here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, if I specify the ending index as 4, then it will print 0 to 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, if you specify like this 1 to 4, starting is 1, ending is 4, that means 1 to 3, that means 2, 3, 4 will be printed here 2, 3, 4. Okay, similarly you can use the negative indexes also. Okay, it is possible to use negative indexes also. That means here you can write -2, then starting to -3, that means 1, 2, 3 will be displayed here. Are you following? This slicing operation is same as it is what we have done in lists. Okay, nothing new here. Okay, okay now. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So next one is so these tuples are immutable objects. So here there is no adding or there is no changing elements. That is not possible. Okay. So I am telling the same order yesterday what we discussed lists. First declaration, then Xing, then slicing, then we have seen changing or adding elements. But here tuples are immutable objects. So changing and adding is not possible. Okay, that's why directly we go to the deleting a tuple. Okay, so deletion also, deleting a particular element is not possible in tuples. Okay, deleting a particular element is not possible, but it is possible to delete. Sorry, it is possible to delete the entire tuple. That is possible. Okay, it is possible to delete the entire tuple by using del keyword. But it is not possible to delete the particular element, same as lists. Okay, if you want to delete the entire tuple, you can write del space the tuple name, del space t1. See here, t1 is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and del space t1. Then what happened? T1 is permanently deleted from the memory. Then what you get? T1 is not defined. Okay, and this is not possible. T1 of 2. I want to delete the element at index 2. That is not possible. It will give you an error. See here, error. Tuple object does not support item deletion. Are you follow? Hello? It is not possible to delete the specific element from the tuple. That is not possible. We don't have remove method. We don't have pop method in tuples. That is not possible. Okay. It only possibility is to delete the entire tuple. That is possible. But deleting the specific element is not possible. Okay. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So then next, that's about deleting. Then next one is what we call index. So same as lists, here also index method is there to find out the index of the particular element. To obtain the index of specific element, we are going to use this index method. Okay, same as lists. So here I can use print of something t1 dot index of 4. I will get the location of 4. What is the location of 4? 3. Okay, t1 dot index of 4. Okay, so index function is able to obtain the index of the specific element. Similarly, I have the count method. Okay, so if I am writing t1 dot count of 2, the purpose of count method is to count the number of occurrences the specific element is appeared in a tuple. So how many times 2 is appeared? 4 times. So output is 4 here. Okay, so only 2 methods are there, index method and count method, important methods. Okay, how many times a specific element is appeared, that will be count method, and index method is for obtaining the index of the specific element. Okay. Hello. And as I told you, in lists, the specific functions, built-in functions like max and min, what we call sum and length and all and any. These 6 functions are available in almost all data structures. Min, max, sum, length, all, any. These 6 are also available with tuples also. Okay, same meaning. If you write max of t1, you will get the largest element. Okay, if you write am I going fast? Are you able to follow? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir, we are able to follow.
Yes, sir.
Am I going fast? Are you able to follow?
No, sir. Clear,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yeah. So if I write min, you will get only smallest element. If you write sum, you will get the sum of elements. Okay. If you write len, get the 5, the length of the list tuple. Similarly, you will get all. That means true value because all are non-zeros. So we'll get a true value. Okay. If any one of the element is 0, you will get false. See here. Okay. Then if you write any, that gives true. Because one of the element is true, the output is true here. Okay. So index, count, max, min, sum, length, all and any. And here also it is possible to write nested tuples, same as the nested lists. It is possible to write nested tuples. Okay, it is possible to write nested tuples. One tuple within the another tuple, that is possible. So you can write like this: t1 is equal to 1, 2, and here you can write x, y, z, comma, a, b, c, and you can write one more tuple with 7.5, comma 6.5, like this. Okay, and if you print t1 like this, you will get out like this. Okay, if you want to access ABC, okay, what is the index of ABC? If you want to access the element ABC, what is the index? T1 of 0, 1, 2, 2, 1. You will get ABC here. See here, because the index of 1 is 0, 2 is 1. The index of this entire tuple is 2. 2 lo 2 0 ante XYZ. 2 1 means ABC. 3 0 means 7.5. 3 1 means 6.5. Like that you can access the tuple elements in a nested tuple. Okay. Is it clear the tuples are?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Next we are moving on to the next data structure that is called as sets.
సార్
Yeah, tell me.
సార్ ఒక టపుల్లో లిస్ట్ని స్టోర్ చేసి మనం లిస్ట్ని చేంజ్ చేయొచ్చా సార్ మళ్ళీ?
Tuple lo
ఒక లిస్ట్ స్టోర్ చేసి ఆ లిస్ట్ని మనం చేంజ్ చేయొచ్చా సార్?
tell me the example.
టపుల్ లోపల ఒక లిస్ట్ స్టోర్ చేయండి సార్. ఆ లిస్ట్ అంతే సార్. లిస్ట్ని 3ని 2గా చేంజ్ చేయండి సార్. అది పాసిబుల్ సార్ అట్లా?
Then it becomes list, not tuple. See here.
సార్ లిస్ట్ పక్కన కామా పెడితే టపుల్ అవుతుందా సార్ మళ్ళీ? ఇక్కడ లిస్ట్ ఎండింగ్ కాడ కామా పెడితే మళ్ళీ టపుల్ అవుతుందా సార్?
Yeah, like this.
ఇప్పుడు లిస్ట్ లోపల ఉన్న 2 వాల్యూని చేంజ్ చేయండి సార్, డిలీట్ చేయండి.
That is not possible actually. So because here that value is 0. Yeah, this is changed. Yeah, T1 of 0 1 that equal to 4. Okay, this considered as tuple కాబట్టి okay, it is possible. Okay. And there is one more possibility is if you want to add some elements into the tuple from runtime. Okay. If you want to add the elements to the tuple at runtime. Generally, tuples cannot use the append function. Am I right? Then what happened is first you have to store the elements in list. Then that list will be stored in tuple. That is possible. Okay, that means I can write like this for I in range of some 1,6. That means the values are 5 values. And I am writing A is equal to int of input. I am writing just. And I am writing L1 dot append of A. Okay. And if I print L1, it will print this list. Now I get tuple T1 is equal to the tuple of L1. Then if I print T1, it will display the list as a tuple here. Sorry, input kada inti padindi akkada. If you have to give enter the values, suppose I am giving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See here, first one is list, second one is tuple. That means directly we cannot modify the tuple, but you can convert the list into tuple by using this tuple function. Okay, first you can store the elements in list and you can convert that list into tuple by using this tuple function or tuple method. Okay. Okay, now it is possible.
Sir.
Okay. Directly we cannot modify the tuples. That is not possible. But taking the lists and modifying the list is possible. The next data structure is sets. Okay. And these sets are nothing but unordered collection of elements. Okay, unordered collection of elements. And here sets does not allow duplicate values. Sets does not allow the duplicate values. That means every element in a set must be unique. But in lists and tuples, duplicates are allowed. Okay, in the lists and tuples, duplicates are allowed, but in sets, duplicates are not allowed. That means every element in a set must be unique. Okay, and the sets are also mutable objects, same as lists. Sets are also mutable objects. That means we can change the set elements, we can add the set elements, we can remove the set elements, everything is possible. Okay, this is similar to lists, but the difference between list and set is list allows duplicate values, but sets does not allow duplicate values. Okay, every element must be unique. Okay, and if you want to create a sets, you have to use a syntax like this: set is equal to curly braces and element 1, element 2, element 3, so on so. Remember the notations. For list we are using square brackets. For tuples we are using parentheses. For sets we are using curly braces. Okay, so you can write like this: S is equal to 1, 2, 3. And, this sets also allows the different types of values like this, same as our lists and tuples. Okay, you can write any number, 234 point, sorry, 224.65, any number. Okay, but if you want to create a empty set, don't write like this. Okay, if you want to create empty set, don't write like this. Okay, why it is? Because if you write empty curly brace like this, the next data structure dictionaries can be created like this. Empty dictionary can be created like this. If you write S is equal to empty curly brackets, by default it is considered as empty dictionary, not an empty set. Okay, that's why don't use this one. If you want to create empty set, you can go for S is equal to just set function, set empty parenthesis. It will create the empty set. Okay, but don't write the S is equal to empty curly braces. Okay. Hello. I'm writing S is equal to 1, 2, 3 and print of S. It will print the set. S is 1, 2, 3. It's in curly brackets. Okay. Suppose if I write S is equal to this one, what it shows? Empty curly brackets. But if you check the type of S, what will display? Class dictionary. That is by default considered as empty dictionary. Okay. That's why if you want to write empty sets, you can go with like this. Then if you get write like this, this will be class set. Earlier it is dictionary, now it is set. Okay. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now creation of sets. Yeah, then next after creating a sets, empty set or some element sets. Okay, now how to add the elements to a set? How to add the elements to a set? Okay, here in sets, slicing operation is not possible. In sets, slicing operation is not possible. Please everyone mute yourself, please. Yeah. In sets, slicing operation is not performed because, as I told you, sets are unordered collection of elements. Okay, if it is ordered, we can use slicing operation. But sets are the unordered collection of elements. That's why it is not possible to perform the slicing operation in sets. Directly you can go for adding elements to the set. Okay. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. If you want to add one element, to a set, you can go with the function add function, or we can say add method. Okay. If you want to add only one element to the set, you have to use add method. Okay. That means you have to write the function like this, add of ELE. So that one element, whatever they are passing, that element will be added to set. Okay. For example, here I'm writing S is equal to some 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Or any numbers you can write 1, 3, 4. And if I write S dot add of 2 and print of S, my original list is 1, 3, 4. Now I'm writing S dot add of 2. I want to add the element 2 here. Then we will print 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. If you print the sets, always sets will be displayed in order. Okay, because the elements are unique now. That's why the sets are displayed always in order. Okay, but the definition is unordered collection, but it will print the elements in sequential order like this. Okay, like that. If you want to add 5, you will get 1, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so if you want to add one element, you can add by using this add method. Okay, if you want to add multiple elements, then you have to use update method. Okay, so for this update method, you can pass directly like this, update of some elements. Whatever the elements you can add, those elements you can write within curly brackets, or you can store those elements in another set variable and you can write here the set variable. Okay, either you can write the values or you can write the set variable. Both are possible. Update of ELE1, ELE2 within square brackets, curly brackets, and otherwise you can write the update of set variable. Okay, by using any one of this, we can add the multiple elements to a set. Okay, let me show you with example. So here we have S is equal to 1, 3, 4. Now I will use the first one, S dot update of. Okay, now I want to use 2, 5, 6. I want to add 3 elements, 2, 5, 6 to this set S. So I'm writing S dot update of 2, 5, 6. If I run this, I will get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, like that you can add the multiple elements to the set. Similarly, it is possible to write another set S1 is equal to whatever elements you want to add, 2, 5, 6. In the place of this set, you can directly write the S1 update of S1. Then also we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. If you want to add one element, you can go for what we call add method. If you want to add multiple elements, you can go for update. Okay. Then the next one is removing elements from a set. Okay. If you want to remove a particular element from the set, you have to use the method called as discard method. Okay, there is a method called discard method. Okay, removing a particular element from the set, we are going to use discard method. Okay, you can write discard of element. Then that particular element will be deleted or removed from the set. Okay, see here. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I am writing S dot discard of 5. Then what happened? 5 will be deleted from the 5 is deleted from the set. So now the list is set is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 6 here. Okay. There is a one more method called as remove method. There is a one more method called as remove method. This method also removes a particular element by using the same syntax, remove of ELE. Okay, remove of ELE. Here we can use for deleting a particular element, remove of ELE. So here I can write remove of 5. So I will get 1, 2, 3, 4 and 6. Okay, then see the difference here. See the difference. So both are for same purpose. Discard and remove both are for same purpose, but difference is if you are using remove method, if you are passing the element which is not available in the set, then it gives key error. Okay, whatever the element you are passing here, if the element is not present in the set, it will give the key error. Okay, whereas in the discard method, it will not give any error. It will give the original list as it is. Okay, see the difference here. See here, my list is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I am giving s dot remove of 7. 7 is not there. So what is the error here? Key error 7. Okay. Suppose in the place of this, I am using discard of 7. It will not give any error. It will give the original list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, the spelling is discard. Discard of 7. So we'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Original list will be as it is. Okay. Are you able to follow difference between discard and remove? Are you able to follow? Both are for same purpose. That means deleting the particular element from the set. But difference is remove method returns key error if the specific element is not available in a set. But discard method does not give any error. It will give the original list as it is. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Then there is a one more method called pop method. There is one more method called pop method. Okay. By using pop method, also, it is possible to delete the elements. So if you call pop method, it will remove always the first element. See here. You will get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Earlier in lists, If you use pop method without index value, there the pop method will remove the last element, but in sets it removes the first element. Remember that. Don't confuse. In lists, if you use pop method, if you are not passing any index value, then it will remove the last element. Whereas in sets, if you use pop method, it will remove the first element. Okay. If you call the pop method second time, it will remove the 2 also. Now we have 3, 4, 5, 6. See here. Okay. Okay now.
Yes, sir.
Next, there is a method called clear. So this is for creating or clearing the set. That means it will create an empty set. It will clear all the elements. Okay. So here I'm writing s dot clear. Then you'll get only empty curly braces. So see here set. Okay. So all the elements are cleared from the what we call from the set. Okay. The next method is copy method. The next method is copy method. So the purpose of this copy method is to copy the elements of one set into the another set. Okay. So see here we have what we call S is here. Now I can write S1 is equal to S dot copy. This is also a shallow copy. Okay, same as lists. This is also a shallow copy. Now S1 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now if I add S1 dot add of 7, then if I print S1, what it displays 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Am I right? If I print S, it displays only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Original set will be as it is. Okay. The new set will be modified. Okay. This is same as the copying of lists. Okay. Here also we are doing the shallow copy. We are copying the one set of elements into the another set. If you are modifying the new set, that will not reflect in the original set. Okay. Then the next method is disjoint. Okay, is disjoint. Disjoint sets means anyone tell me? Because you know already sets in mathematics. Disjoint sets means hello?
Different elements in sets.
Yeah, the sets are not having any common elements. Okay, so this method returns true if the sets are not having any common elements. Otherwise, return false. Okay, is disjoint method returns true value if both the sets are not having any common elements. Okay, for example, here S is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and S1 is equal to some what we call 7, 8, 9, 10, for example. Now I am writing S dot is disjoint of S1. Okay, Is there any common elements in S and S1? Is there any common elements? Is there any common elements?
No, sir.
No,
No,
that's why we get the true value here. Okay, because these two are disjoint sets. Suppose if you have any element like this 4, and you will get false here because 4 is common. Then these two are not disjoint sets. Okay. Disjoint sets means the sets which are not having any common elements. Okay. The next one is superset. The next method is superset. Superset means suppose I am writing S1 dot each superset of S2. That means that in mathematics, superset
All
means
the elements of S1 or in S2.
all the elements of
S1 are in S2.
not exactly reverse pyramid. All the elements of S2 are present in S1. Then we can say S1 is me chepin subset adi. Okay.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
So okay, no problem. Okay, S2, all the elements of S2 is present in S1. Then we can say S1 is the superset of S2. Whereas all the elements of S1 is present in S2, we will that is a subset. So S1 dot each subset of S2 ante ganaka returns true if all the elements of S1 is present in S2. ఇక్కడైతే కనుక ఏమవుతుంది రిటర్న్స్ ట్రూ ఇఫ్ all the elements of S2 are present S1. Okay, that is superset. This is offset. So let me show you with example. So here let me take S1 is 4, 5, 6. Now if I write S1 dot each superset of S1, we will get true because all the elements of S1, what is all the S1? 4, 5, 6 present in the SS. So we will get true value. Okay. Suppose if you write here each subset, what will we get? S dot each subset of S1. What will we get?
False.
False, because all the elements of S is not present because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are there in S, but 1, 2, 3 is not present in S1. So we'll get false here. So if all the elements of S1 present in S2, that is subset. If all the elements of S2 present in S1, we get superset. Okay. Okay now.
Yes, sir.
Then we have the predefined functions. Already we discussed in list tuples, that is max, min, sum, length, all, any. All these are available with sets also. Max, min, sum, length, all, any. All these are available with what we call sets also. Okay. So if you want, you can check all these functions. What we can write max of S, we will get the maximum element, that is 6. Sorry, there is a parenthesis extra, 6. Okay. Similarly min, similarly sum. Okay, whatever you want you can perform. Okay, like that you can use any function, max, min, sum, length, all, any. Okay, is it clear till now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and today I want to give one assessment for you. Okay, and you have to submit to me. Okay. I want to give 2 questions or 2 programs. Rastara.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the first one is program to remove duplicates. List. Program to remove duplicates from list. That means you have to take one list, and in that list you have to store the elements from the keyboard, and you have to store the duplicate values, and after that the duplicate values should be removed. By using some logic, you can remove that, and you can print the list after removing the duplicates. Okay, that is one program. Another program is program to read a list of positive and negative values. Okay, list తీసుకోవాలి మీరు. In that list you have to store both positive values and negative values. Okay, and create a new list. Create a new list in which first element is the sum of squares of positive values, and second element is the sum of cubes of negative values. Okay, question is కొంచెం పెద్దగా ఉంది కానీ but the answer is very simple. Program to read a list of positive and negative values and create a new list in which first element is the sum of squares of positive values and second element is the sum of cubes of negative values. That means example, list లో ఉందనుకోండి, L is equal to some 1, 2, -1, 3, -2, -3. For example, list లో ఉంది మీకు 1, 2, -1, 3, -2, -3. ఓకే, అలాంటి లిస్ట్ ఒకటి క్రియేట్ చేయాలి మీరు, అంటే రీడ్ చేయాలి. తర్వాత ఒక కొత్త లిస్ట్ రావాలి, న్యూ లిస్ట్. ఇన్ దిస్ న్యూ లిస్ట్ ద ఫస్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్ షుడ్ బి ద సమ్ ఆఫ్ స్క్వేర్స్ ఆఫ్ పాజిటివ్ వాల్యూస్. వాట్ ఆర్ ద పాజిటివ్ వాల్యూస్ హియర్? 3, 2, 1. సో 3 square 9 plus 2 square 4. 9 plus 4 13 plus 1 అంటే ఎంత అవుతుంది? 14. First element should be 14. Second element should be sum of cubes of negative values. 3 cube ఎంత అవుతుంది? 27. 2 cube 8. 27, 8, 35, 36. It becomes -36. ఇది రావాలి నాకు. ఇలా ఇస్తే ఇన్పుట్, అవుట్పుట్ నాకు ఇది ప్రింట్ అవ్వాలి. Are you follow? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, these 2 questions as assessment. Okay, you can write the program for this and kindly send this to my mail ID shreyas.ac.in, av.srinivas@shreyas.ac.in. Okay, you can write or you can copy both the programs in one notepad or one Word with outputs. Okay, try to do the programs, and if you got the output, then you can copy the program along with output in Word, and you can send the Word file with your roll number. In the Word you can mention the roll number and name also. Okay, okay now, because the programming subject always listening is very easy but practicing is important. Okay, by practicing only you will get some knowledge. Okay. Try to write the programs with your own logic. Don't copy from others. Don't search in Google Talli. Okay. Try to write the program with your own logic.
Okay, sir.
Okay, because that's only improve your logical skills or analytical skills. If you copy from somewhere else or somewhere Google, so there is no need of learning any programming language. Okay, try until you succeed. Definitely వస్తుంది అసలు నథింగ్ ఎందుకంటే రాకుండా అయితే ఉండదు. Definitely will get the output. Definitely will get the program. If you try చేయకుండా సింపుల్ గా రాలేదంటే మాత్రం there is no use. And try చేయకుండా if you try in other resources like Google or from friends, there is no use. If you try, you will get definitely. Okay. In tomorrow's session, we will see the remaining operations on sets like a union, intersection, differences, and semantic differences. How we are going to perform these operations on sets. And next we go to the dictionaries. Okay. Then we will see the stack implementation and queue implementation using lists. Okay. Tomorrow we will see.
Dear participants, if you have any questions, please post them in the chat box and do complete the assignment given and send it to the mail provided. Thank you, sir.
If anybody having any doubts, otherwise I will close this meeting.